Good evening, YouTube. It's Friday night, it's 8 o'clock, and it's live from lockdown. I promise you now, I'm not as ill as I actually look. This fucking light makes me look ill, but my arm is hurting for anyone who cares. I know you don't, but my arm is absolutely killing me. I mean, I can just about pick up this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mug from 1980, whatever, to drink me tea because I'm on painkillers, because I'm a wuss. I was scared of needles, didn't want to go. I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself. But who we got in the chat? We got Holster. Holster is the first comment of the evening. Good evening, Holster. Hope you're okay. Bahaha. Ross, good evening. Tutti UK. Evening Goons. I'm so glad I read that right. Bill, in the UK, that guy in the corner. Good evening. Rob Gernaldino Plays. Retro Bear. Feed Me Chicken. Big Gay Al. And also James from the Game Zone. Birdroom, this cup, this is a boot sale cup. This is 1990. I used to have the original one in white back in the day. This is probably some knockoff one, but question for Dana. If you die, can I still have your games as agreed? As long as you sell enough of them, so I have a decent wooden box to go into. You and Aunt Harper are in charge of splitting them up, but I'm not going to die anytime soon, I hope. Touch wood. I mean, really, what a fucking morbid thing to be talking about. So anyway, you've not come to hear me and listen about me moan that my bastard arm's hurting. You've come to see my guest, and he's a very good guest. I had him on during the last streams. I believe I had him on with Cine Steve, who we had on last week. He sorted his computer and technology out this time, so he's just clicked one button and he's here. And it's Retro Dave's Pinball Arcade, the artist formerly known as Retro Dave Nintendo. And the artist formerly known as, what was it? Capri 3 Laser or Capri Laser
3.
Brilliant.
Way back, about 2007, I think.
13 years ago. So I'll just reel off a few stats as what I do with everyone else. And we'll get into that to start with, to be fair. So your sub count is 3,380 exactly, apparently. A whopping 406 uploads. I think that's the most I've looked up since I've been looking up people's stats.
Wow.
And how do you go back and check them? Because you've got the Mario boxes 90% to those as your thumbnail.
Yeah, they were the first early ones. Yeah, I don't know. I got lazy with the thumbnails.
Brilliant. You've got 651,754 views on the channel in total. Your daily average is 184 views. Your weekly average is 1,200 views. So that's quite impressive.
Wow.
As we mentioned, I do know you know what your first video is, but would you like to tell your audience what your very first video was 13 years ago?
It was about my Ford Capri, and it was the last day it was on the road. So I did like I can't remember the software I use now, but I was driving my mate was videoing me driving my Capri, and I then made it look old fashioned with like banger racing music in the background.
Your first 3 uploads, one was from 12 years ago, 2 from 13 years ago, were all about your Capri. So I was really shocked because obviously until I started doing this, I don't really watch people's back catalogs unless YouTube randomly recommends them me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've watched Razzy's Pizza because it seems to recommend that one to me. Stu's excellent collection of jumpers that he used to have about 6 years ago. So, yeah, when I look back, because my dad used to have a Capri and my brother's mate, Wayne, he used to have a Capri and he was a bit of a boy racer. He likes his speed. He has I think he's got a Nissan Fairlady now, imported. So when I saw that, I had a little smile thinking, you know, the beginning of Dave's channel was nothing at all to do with gaming. So do you want to tell us what the initial thoughts was?
What's on what with the channel, with the car?
Yeah, when you first ever did it.
I don't know. I don't know why I did it. I think I just wanted to document the last day it was on the road. I think I remember just doing the video, and we did it on an old camcorder. And I think I got some old video editing software and uploaded it, and it was an old like high-8 tape. It's like a proper old camcorder tape. I thought I want to keep it, so I just put it up on YouTube to try and document it that way. I don't want the original video anymore, I don't think. So if I delete it now, it's gone forever.
Well, I'm glad you haven't, like, because almost when you decided to do a gaming channel, it could have been easy for you to delete that from it, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it's good for you that you've kept it. We've got a question from Stu already.
Go
For
on.
Dave, what after pinballs? Back to cars, banger racing? Will the channel name to Dave's bangers, Dave's old bangers? Could
Oh.
could be a good OnlyFans page.
Dave's Bangers is on Pornhub only.
I mean, joking aside, we will go through your journey of how you become Pinball Dave, because I know it was something when we last spoke on here, you were not, I don't want to say paranoid, but a bit nervous about changing everything over, going down the pinball route. But since you've done so, I think your enthusiasm and your channel has almost had another rebirth. I mean, I watch you do your repairs and your mods and stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, I couldn't be messing with that. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what it is. I love, like I said, with cars, I've always been a hands-on, like, you know, tinkerer. Like with my job before, I was like a carpenter and property maintenance. I've always been fixing stuff. I used to like working on the cars, and then with like arcades, I could do a little bit. With pinballs, it scratches both itches because I can play it and I can fix it. And I don't always know what I'm doing, but I enjoy the kind of working it out and trying to fix it. And the mechanical side of it all, because a lot of it is nuts and bolts and screws. You know, there was only the boards in the back, which I don't know hardly anything about, but everything else mechanical, I quite like that tinkering aspect of it.
I was just about to say that they're very much like what old cars used to be, nuts, bolts. You know, if something was knackered, you took it off, changed it for the exact same thing. Before they put all on board computers and made everything all much more complicated.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about it. Yeah, all the old mechanical bits that I can mess about with. So yeah, it's good.
Brilliant. We've got a couple of questions, so I'll try and keep on top of them tonight. Dave, if Arcade Club don't open, can we all come around yours instead? Well, as long as you all like pinballs, I'm guessing.
Well, I'll have to charge a slightly reduced entry fee because nowhere near as many games as Arcade Club have got. But yeah.
Brilliant. We'll move on to the questions and then we'll get to talking about what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone looking to get into collecting pinball machines? Now, I know I sent a guy called Retro Kit over to your channel recently.
Yeah.
So I don't know what advice you gave him, but anyone who's watching, what advice would you give them?
Just do your research. When I got offered my first one, I just looked up loads of like common problems. So you kind of want to know what is likely to go wrong, how easy is it to get bits for them. And obviously you want to watch loads of like videos of like gameplay and how to play it and what it's like, because you can get a game and if it's crap, it's a big bit of equipment to try and then get rid of. It's not like a game you can stick on eBay and post it off in a jiffy bag. So you want to be sure that it's something you're going to like. And like I say, most of mine have all been through just watching YouTube videos, like literally loads, just researching, looking up what you've got to do, what the reviews on it. So I think just do your homework and then research also all your prices, try not to overpay for stuff. So get an idea of what you might like. And then just research, just keep on looking on YouTube for stuff and forums and Google, just try and look up all the information you can and kind of narrow it down to like a few games you might like, and then just kind of focus on those and then, to see what you can find out.
Without prying too much, Dave, and just purely for my own knowledge, I don't want to know an exact price of what you paid, but standard pinball machine, like, because I know some of the more like sought after ones are more expensive, but a beginner's entry pinball machine, like a decent one, what sort of ballpark are you looking to pay?
I think anything half decent is going to be around £2,000, maybe a little bit less, maybe 1,800 quid, but somewhere between 1,800 and 2,200, you'd get something like an older game like these, basically.
Brilliant. That's just purely for my own interest.
Project, you can get knackered projects for less than that you've then got to try and fix up and get parts for, and then you get like stuff that's maybe a little bit older, like early 2000s for like £3,000 upwards, or you can buy a brand new one for $6,500 to like £10,000. It's the new stuff's way above what I want to spend on a game. But if you like tinkering with stuff and you don't mind getting your hands dirty, then you can buy a cheaper game as long as you're happy to maintain it yourself. You can buy a new game and get a 2-year warranty. So it depends where you're sitting with. If you want a brand new game that hasn't got any marks or any dirt on it, No one's kicked it around an arcade, spilt any coke in it. You know, you can buy a brand new one and not have to worry for a bit, or you can buy an older game and mess about with it yourself. But that comes with its own risks because it's been, you know, beaten up, kicked, you know, abused, played to death. But yeah, if you don't mind that, then you can get something half decent for a decent price.
Brilliant. I mean, in a way, like sometimes, like a few little scuffs.
Oh.
A bit like with, like, you know, like when you buy a Nintendo game and it's a little scuffed on the edge.
Yeah.
It adds that little bit of character that it was once done by someone, you know. As long as it's not too far knackered, I don't think I'd mind. Like, do you remember, like, on the old arcade machines when people used to scratch the coins to try and get them to register? That sort of stuff wouldn't too much bother me because it's almost like a story of that machine sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. With as you know, with my console games, I'm wanting them to be really mint. But with these games, because they've been rooted, I don't really mind. It's because they've been beaten up, so I don't mind. I kind of accept it, you know.
Brilliant. We've got loads of questions, so we'll move on to the next one. For Dave from 2 UK, GRAIL Pinball, money, rarity, no issue. So if money and rarity was no issue, you could have any dream pinball. What would it be?
Well, the one that I really wanted was the Attack from Mars, which I got last June for my birthday. So that was my GRAIL. I played that on my phone for about 3.5 years. So I've said to myself, well, if I can have one pinball, what would it be? And it would have been that, and I got it. But if it's something I don't have, as some people shit on it, but I would love a Ghostbusters. They did a Ghostbusters a few years ago. And I think a second-hand one there now is like 4.8, 5 grand. So I think if I won on a scratch card, I'd probably go with that. Just because I've not played one before, and I've played one, but if I could own one, it'd be that, I think.
You're quite a big Ghostbusters fan as well, aren't you? Because another thing that featured on your channel, some of your highest views actually, was your retro toy collection, and you had some on-card original Ghostbusters stuff. Yeah,
that was a little slippery slope I went down for a little while with the figures. I think that all started when I found all my old stuff in my mum's loft. I think a lot of it started from there. I went down this road of getting a few figures and then quickly realised that, one, they take a load of space, and two, it's a rabbit hole I didn't want to go down. So I got out of it pretty quick.
With the mint on card, I mean, you've got to have that space, that wall to show them. Otherwise, you're just storing them in boxes.
Yeah, exactly. And I had them on my bookcase, and it took up like 2 shelves of the bookcase, I think. And I thought, yeah, this is getting ridiculous. So I just thought, I'm going to get, as cool as they are, I can't go down this rabbit hole. So I jacked it in.
Well, when my games room first started, like I used to have, there was a cabinet that I had the games put in, and on top, probably close to 100 loose figures. They were just what I picked up from the boot sale, bar the 2 that I got were originally mine. And I got to that stage, it's like, do I want this space to put more games in, or am I going to let these toys get out of control because I'll keep buying them and I'll keep adding? I've got to do one or the other. Now, toys, especially action figures, are as much nostalgic for me as games, but I had to choose the one, and I went with the games. Who's saying about 10 years down the line, I might change my mind and swap all these games. Some loads of questions. So I'm going to move on. For Dave, again from 2 UK, what was the catalyst to move away from consoles and then to pinball? So obviously you went to arcades in between then. I've got a little note here. About 5 years ago was Operation Wolf your first arcade machine?
Yeah, about 5.5 years ago now.
Yeah. And then August 2019 was when you got your first pinball machine, which was the Getaway. Yeah. So what was the catalyst? You know, it's almost like a progression in your journey. And to be honest, you've put yourself out here as a collector, shared your collection. And I think it's good that you've shared that journey sort of thing, like, and not shied away from it.
Yeah. God, where do I start? I think, as I said before, I started collecting retro games properly 2005. I won't repeat myself too much for the last stream, but I'll quickly glaze over it. But I've done all the collecting the games before, and I think it was one of Novabug's videos about what would be like your top 3 items you could have, or that kind of thing. And I thought it'd be like an arcade machine, like an Operation Wolf. I think was one of them. I think the Virtual Boil might have been another one. Anyway, and then I got speaking to Alex, and Craig's here again after that video, I think, and they said, oh, well, maybe we could try and find you another Operation Wolf. I was like, all right, well, if you can find one, that'd be pretty cool. And I think it took like 2 weeks, and they both found the same guy, and they put me in touch with him. And then, that was it. I just went out to go and have a look at it. I did a video on that, I think, as well. Bought Operation Wolf and stuck it in the garage. Thought, this is great. And then Craig again, obviously sold a load of his machines to Arcade Club. So then he had a few left over. He sold me a Special Crew Investigations. That was my second cab. And I thought, this is pretty cool. I've got my console collection here. I've got a couple of games in the garage. And then the plan was always to redo this room anyway. But I thought I can perhaps incorporate an arcade section as well. So I kept Operation Wolf for a bit longer. And then I think it was thinking, well, I've had a couple. What else would I like? I thought, Donkey Kong would be pretty cool. So I thought, well, how am I going to do that? And then I started looking around the room thinking, well, I've got all these games that are lovely to have, but I'm not really playing them a great deal. So I started thinking, well, I could sell a couple and I could buy another arcade. So I really quickly realised I could sell maybe a couple of games and buy another machine. And that's how that snowballed. So it started getting to the point of thinking, well, I could sell a bit more and then buy another machine, sell a bit more, buy another machine. Before I knew it, I'd have a room full of arcades and very little collection left. And I whittled that down to my favourites. And then I think I got to the point where I realised I wasn't actually missing what I'd got rid of. I just thought, fuck it, just risk it, and sold a lot. And then I bought that Pinball, that Getaway, on a bit of a whim. It was kind of Andy, 8-Bit Andy put me onto it. Because we'd been talking, on the way home, we'd been talking in the car. He was we were talking about Ghostbusters when that was coming out. We think, how cool would that be to get Ghostbusters? How cool would that be to have that? And then he actually got one. He actually got a Ghostbusters at one point. And he said, oh, if you think about getting a Pinball, I know someone's selling a Getaway for quite cheap. And I didn't know anything about the game at the time. And then I thought, well, I thought if I take a punt on it, if I don't like it, I'll get rid of it. So I bought it, and then I fell in love with it. And then once I got hooked on playing pinball and figuring how cool it is, I thought, well, I want to get another one. And then that's somehow that spiraled. So I started selling arcades to buy more pinballs, and now we've got a room full of pinballs and no arcades left. So yeah, it's just evolved into what it is now.
See, a lot of people would see that where you're taking away a big collection like your console collection to get something less. But if you were playing Donkey Kong a lot, you were playing those arcades a lot. See, because I'm like a lot of collectors. I'm swamped under with a load of games. A lot of them I'm not playing. I'm playing a select few. Normally the ones I've got set up.
Yeah.
So you were probably doing the same. You had a lot of games you weren't playing, but then once you got designated arcade machines, you was playing because your options of what you wanted to play were less. And obviously,
exactly. I would come out here. I mean, I love my retro games, man. I've always been in retro. I've always played my old games, but I found I come out here, I could spend nearly an hour just deciding what game to play, and it sounds ridiculous even talking about mentioning it. I couldn't even pick something to play, and it got to the point where I didn't play anything. So I ended up when I started selling stuff, I found it easier to choose something to do. And now I've only got I've got 7 machines. I've got 7 games to play, and I play all of them nearly every night. So I'm coming out here, I'm actually playing it all the time. So to me, having less choice to play stuff seems to work better for me personally.
Brilliant. Do you think high score is a thing to do with it as well? Because I know you were chasing high scores definitely on Donkey Kong. So do you do the same with pinballs?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Although I haven't got many people to compete against, I just kind of compete against myself, really. just see how better I can get. I'm hoping, obviously, when all this knockdowns over, the place open up, I'd like to go to some events and some meets and try and put scores on machines and stuff like that, like I did at Arcade Club. I like to try and do that. So, yeah, that's the plan.
Brilliant. I've got a load more questions, so we'll quickly move on.
Yeah.
Gernaldinho Plays. Is there a TV series or film that hasn't got a themed pinball table made that you would like to see made?
Jesus. Is there a TV series, a film hasn't had a themed pinball table made? Oh, it'd be Gremlins.
No Gremlins?
No. I've spoken about this to...
I can just imagine the little things that would activate, like if you got that. Oh, man, that'd be brilliant.
I've already been speaking about it to Randy. I said, you know, like if you'd like hit the ball in the chest and Gizmo would come out and all that. I've got it all planned in my mind, like how cool it would be. I think if they did make a Gremlins theme pin, I think I'd have to probably sell a couple of these to get one, because that'd be awesome to get a Gremlins theme game.
I mean, there's so many like the first thing that I can think of is, you know, when he's in the blender, the Gremlin.
Yeah.
Like something like that activates that. That'd be brilliant, man. Yeah. That's the first thing that pinged in my head.
I'm just thinking of the artwork. I'm just thinking of like the striped Gremlin on the middle of the playfield and all that, and Mr. Miyagi shot.
Well, you know that backdrop, you know, like how you've got the Demolition Man there, backdrop. I'm just thinking, you know, the VHS cover for Gremlins when he's breaking out through. That would look brilliant.
Yeah, so we need a Gremlins pinball, definitely. That's I'm voting for that.
Brilliant. Now that's an excellent answer. Eddie says, Rollercore, any plans of an extension to fit in more pinballs?
No, I can't. I need the other half of the garage. I can't. The thing is, you keep extending, you keep on buying more shit, don't you? So this is the space I've got. That's it. No. If I ever move house and you've got another room, then if it's bigger, great. If not, no, I can't extend this anymore.
Brilliant. More questions. Another one from Stu. He's massively interested in what you're doing. Are you in that pin cycle like Andy, where you buy and sells and revolves, and the pins in the room? Do you lose and gain money? So basically, you're saying, do you constantly change machines or?
No. Well, I've only sold one so far, but I've actually got a buyer on Demo Man lined up. So I'm looking to rotate like one game. That's the plan. So not sell loads, but I'm thinking one at a time. I might sell one to get something else. So it's what, one in, one out kind of thing. So at the minute, I've kind of like process of elimination. I'm thinking Demolition Man will be the one to go, and then I'll get something else. As for losing money, probably not. I mean, you might lose maybe a couple £100, but then another machine I might gain a couple £100. I guess it swings and roundabouts, really. You tend to get back what you pay. If you don't pay stupid in the first place, you tend to, you know, get your money back.
There's a bit of nostalgia about it as well at the moment for Demolition Man, isn't there? So it'd probably be a good time to move it on. Yeah. Everyone seems to go on about it because, like, are we in the year that Demolition Man was set or something like that? 2021.
I've watched the film for. I've seen Terminator more than I've seen Demolition Man. I think I saw Demolition Man once back when it came out, but I don't know.
Brilliant. We've got another. Oh man, it's Stu's traditional question.
He's fucking harassing me.
Yeah. If you had to live with any other YouTuber in their house, and this is any other YouTuber, not your best mate, like Alex said, for a month, who would it be and why? So basically, if you could live with any other YouTuber for a month, who would it be and why?
I think this has been mentioned before, but I'm going to go with Bithead 1000 if I can get to America, because I know he's a bit of a petrol head as well. I know he likes his cars and he likes messing about. I'd be went up for staying with him. I think it'd be a right laugh.
Oh, Stu will be smashing the heart emojis now down the bottom.
Yeah,
I'll be loving that answer. Yeah. We've got loads of questions because the chat's going quite quick. From Sega Saturn Lad, question for Dave. Mine are packed in. That's why I should always read the questions before I ask them.
Oh God, what are they? They're like barber grade clippers off Amazon. I think they're called now. I think they're called. Well, is it WHAL? WHAL? WHAL clippers? Yeah, feel about 50 quid, mate.
Stu's got another question. Stu's designing your house here.
He's just talking these fucking comments, private feed.
I don't know. He's quite excited tonight. If you're in the room, why not go up? This is the man who's been on about building his own games room since I've known him. So a set of stairs, go upstairs. Upstairs is the arcade.
I'm not going to get planning permission to do a 2-story extension on this garage. It ain't going to happen. Sorry.
Brilliant. I think this one's to us both. From Sneztastic Pete, aka the Amico Kid.
Hey.
Are beards an essential feature for retro gaming? I'll let you go first, and then I'll explain why I have mine.
Yeah, well, basically, I think because the hair was going on the head, I thought, well, I want to keep it on the face. So, yeah. grow a beard.
Mine is because I have a perfectly fat round head if I don't grow this beard. And I discovered about 6-7 years ago, if I grew it, it gave me head more shape. Like anyone who knows me, if you no, actually don't go back looking through my old Facebook pictures at all, don't ever do that. But as a teen, I had jaws and features, and then as I discovered alcohol and not having to run as much at football, I got a round head. So that's why I have the beard to give me a false longing of the face. Let me just check any more questions. Yeah, we got one from. Right, what's this? Which one? Will you ever forgive me for robbing your burger order at the pub? This is from Andy Sneaker Freak.
I can only vaguely remember it, so I'll forgive you, man. It's fine. I can barely remember it. But yeah, it's cool. It's fine. Take the burger. Hope you enjoyed it.
Brilliant. So we'll get back to your old YouTube journey, and I'll let the questions stack up a bit more. So we were both discussing. You know what your most viewed video is? Yeah. It's 86,000 viewers. That's the Super Mario Game & Watch game. You did tell us why you thought they'd gone up so much in views.
Yeah, I think when I noticed I was getting comments like middle of last year, end of last year, and I think then I realised they're bringing out like the re-release. They're doing a re-release of it. So I think people must be searching for Mario Brothers Game & Watch, and because it was already fairly popular, I think that kind of YouTube must have flagged it to the top, and everyone go, "Oh, I remember that one." And before you know it, I've had a whole lot of influx of new comments and stuff on that one.
That Game & Watch, though, everyone knows that's my favourite Game & Watch because I also owned it as a kid. But it's a totally different game to the one that they've released because the release is the NES games, basically.
Yeah.
Well, it's a blooming good and hard game, that is, jumping on the barriers and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good one.
I must admit, that was something me, my dad and my brother got quite competitive with back in the day.
Yeah, that's a cool game.
And then we discussed what your second most viewed was, which was the banger racing.
Oh, yeah, I know it, isn't it?
Because that was a video that comes randomly in the middle of your channel. You must have gone there to watch it and you decided to add it to the channel.
Yeah, uploaded it. And I guess people just must have searched for it. And yeah, is it Halloween Havoc or something? Is that right?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really popular one. That meeting, so I can probably see why. If it was just an everyday, if it was an every weekend meet, it probably would be nowhere near as popular. But I think that meeting, that's the one that got caravans in it and stuff. It's got several DDs. I think a lot of people researched it for that reason. I'm guessing.
Because I know Stu mentioned about Bigfoot, the monster truck, the game, because he's Kevin Wolford's box pullout, I think, was Bigfoot. But I've actually seen Bigfoot and version because like they must make so many Bigfoot, so many Gravediggers, and then sell them around the world. Yeah. And there used to be one doing the tours at the banger racing at Skegness Stadium. And whenever I go to Skeg, I always watch the banger racing. I've watched the best race I ever seen, right, was the under-14s, is it, or something?
Yeah.
The one chap got spun out and he waited for the car who knocked him out to come out and they just collided straight on. The radiator blew up. And then they started having an argument. Then the dad started fighting in the middle.
Yeah.
Best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, they start jumping over barriers. The parents get involved. The uncles come out. They all go to the pits out the back. Yeah.
So how does that work? Because obviously they're not legal to drive, but I'm guessing because it's on private land.
Yeah. You have to have like a license to race. I've never raced, but I know you have to pay to race, but you have to have a driving license now.
Brilliant, but
basically, yeah.
But yeah, because like obviously they have the stock car racing, then they have the banger race, and then they used to have Bigfoot come out and crush a few cars and various other ones from the monster truck series in America. Yeah. So what they must do is once they're knackered, just send them to do like exhibitions around the world, sort of thing. Like, brilliant. We got some more questions. One from Eddie Rollercore: could a track and field pinball be possible? And if so, how would you see it working? Well, I'm guessing Eddie must have an idea, being as he come up with it.
I don't know. I guess you'd have to maybe shoot a ramp a certain amount. I don't know. I don't think it would work because that's on like a button rhythm game, isn't it? Speed. I don't know how that would work in a pinball machine. I don't know. I've absolutely rinsed track and field now. I don't even know how that would even work in a pinball. I don't know. I'm saying no. If you've got an idea, tell me.
I haven't got one, but if Eddie writes one in the comments, I'll highlight it. From Bulla, I believe he might be new to the channel. Dave, Dreamscape or Helter Skelter?
I think I like both, but I think the Dreamscape is the nostalgic one. That's the one I listened to the longest. So yeah, Dreamscape. We'll go with that.
Brilliant. We've got another question from Tootie, and I know he's asked it because I'm on. Dave, are you going to buy an Evercade? It's the latest craze. Well, they am bringing actual arcade ports this year
Right.
to the system.
Joe, I've not even looked into them. No, so I'm going to say no. I've not even looked into one.
I was involved in the Evercade, like unofficial podcast sort of thing last night, and a couple of guys on there who actually speak to the people at Blaze who are working on it. They've been in touch with Taito, Capcom, and Konami about bringing. Because the reason why they've used all the NES ports is because the licenses are easy to get. But I think now they're getting a bit of traction. They're actually going and speaking to people to get the licenses. So, you know, I'd love to see Stu. I think Stu wouldn't cave just because of the shit I'd give him if he did cave and get one. Even if he wanted one, he wouldn't fucking get one in the end. Just because of the crap I give him. We've got another question from Pete Snestastic, aka the Amico Kid. Is Dave still buying vinyl? Well, I know an answer to that. You've not watched my latest pickups video, have you then, Pete?
No, I'm not. But the thing is, I haven't. My record player's in the loft now because I've got all these machines in the way. I've took the speakers down. I've packed it all away. I've still got most of my records here. I've sold a couple, as you know. But no, I'm not actively buying the records at the moment, Pete. No.
I've got a confession. When I was making my thumbnail for my pickups video the other day, I had the Turtles album on in the background while I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I kept getting up and kept putting it back to Turtle Power because that's the last track while I was doing my old thumbnail, to be fair.
Yeah.
So the third highest video viewed, again, because we joked that 2 out of the 3 highest viewed videos on your channel weren't gaming related. The other one's the old Ghostbusters figures. So that got a lot of views. So the one thing I will say, Dave, is with your channel is, although you've got different interests, you've never gone hunting after those views. You've just done the videos as you found them, and you've got the views for them, but you've never like milked it, sort of thing. Like,
it's just random how some videos get loads of traction and some don't. I don't know how it works. I don't know. Yeah, I've just uploaded it, and then I say several seem to have had quite a bit of attention, but yeah, I've not gone out and purposely seeked it. It just happened.
Brilliant. We've got a question from Jay Cybersnake 7. Would you ever buy a vintage pinball machine? Is that like one that's purely no electronics, just purely mechanical? Or...
Yeah, they're all like bells and chimes that do my head in. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. No.
Are they the old penny arcade sort of things? Are they them?
I can't explain it. They've basically got no screen. They've got like a mechanical reel, and they're very slow, I think, and they're just. Yeah, I think not for me. I think it's too early for me. It's too early. I think I'd get bored of it in 5 minutes. Play one in a venue, but I wouldn't buy one. No. So the answer is no. I think I wouldn't go anything earlier than the solid state stuff like this.
So it's the replayability that wouldn't have, because I'm guessing because there's no score counter, you got to have a pen and paper, have you?
There's a score reel.
Is that
a reel that spins around? There's no like display. It's and it's the noise. It annoy the hell out of me. Like, having the doorbell go off constantly, and that's what it sounds like. Well, at least with these, you've got music and you've got speech. You know, you've got even the oldest one is Swords of Fury. That's got speech and music. But the old solid stuff, the old electrical mechanical games, they're all just, they've got like a bloody xylophone in the bottom of them. It's like ding dong, ding dong, bells, yeah. And that would just annoy the hell out of me. Hearing that go off, I couldn't do it. Sorry, no. Although they're a lot cheaper, I couldn't. No, I wouldn't be interested in buying one of them.
Just to inform you all that Sega Saturn lad's en route to Lidl, listening on his headphones. Is that the weekly shop or just stocking up on beer, Scott? Could you please let us know? It's important for the stream.
Yeah, it's getting hair clippers from Lidl.
Getting some hair clippers and batteries. Yeah. Flashback TNT for Dave. What's the best mod you've seen on a pinball machine?
Best one I've seen?
That can be seen as in watched on YouTube, not actually physically seen, I'm guessing.
Best one I've seen on a video. Trying to think what springs to mind. They've done this. there's like a UV kit on Stranger Things, which is pretty cool. So it makes all the playfield look like under a black light almost, and that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think off the top of my head anything like really outstanding that I've seen that's a mod. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. If something comes to me, I'll shout it out, but I can't think of anything like crazy amazing off the top of my head.
To expand on that, is there any mods that you're intending to do to any of your machines in the coming future?
Well, I fitted the ones on Terminator already. I bought a load for that last year. I don't think. See, when you say mods, it could be anything. Like I've put mirrors on Fishtails and Demo Man. I've not done a video on that yet, but I've put mirror blades on those. So that's like a mod, but it's not like a really fancy mod. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you.
So just putting mirrors on the sides is one thing. I mean, yeah, like Terminator, I put the extra little T1000 stuff on it and the art blades. But I've got nothing in the pipeline, no. Nothing, there's nothing major in the pipeline for mod-wise.
No worries. We've got some more questions. Sneztastic, aka the Miko Kid. I'm going to say that every time I read out your name, Pete, by the way. Has Dave got any hobbies that he hasn't talked about? So obviously we've covered the cars, we've covered the pinballs, we've covered the arcades, and we've covered the consoles and the pinballs.
I think you knew about this last year. I very, very briefly dabbled with scale tricks.
Yes.
I got how did that come about? I think I was bored, like we all were last year, and I'm trying to think how that came about. I think I ended up. I don't even know why I started looking for it, but I got a bloody the RS Cosworth scale tricks off eBay. Just because I was like loads of space on the floor, this before the machines came. I thought just something to do, something to tinker with, and I kind of bought a scale trick. Pardon me. And as soon as I got the machines in, I thought I've got no room for this. This is a bad idea, and they went. So that was, I would say, a hobby. It was a passing dress fad. Yeah. Yeah.
No worries. I mean, I used to have scale electric as a kid, and you know what used to put me off playing with my scale electrics? Setting it up.
Yeah.
Setting up, man.
Yeah. It's having the track on the floor. It's just in the way. I found it was in the way. I thought it was fun for about 2 weeks. I messed about with it, just desperately trying to find something to do. And yeah, that went in the end. So, yeah.
I think with scale electrics, man, if you're going to get into it as a hobby, you've got to go big, I think.
Yeah.
Make the track worth going round, sort of.
Yeah, you need almost like a dedicated room or like a lot, like fitted out permanently with the track permanently set up. Because
almost like a train, you know, like how like people are into trains and they have it elevated so it's like waist height.
Yeah, anything like that, you're going to need a permanent setup, and I haven't got the room for it. And so it was all right for a bit to play around with, and I messed around the cars and fixed them and took them apart and stuff. But yeah, I say that's a hobby, kind of a fleeting interest, really. No, I can't think of any hobbies I've not spoken about, unless Pete knows of any that I've told him that I've not divulged. I don't know.
He may do. Pete's probably got tons of hobbies that he don't talk about. But he's another channel who's quite open about his hobbies and collections. And I prefer channels like that. Right, this is a cheeky question. Probably should have read it before. Every good arcade needs a name. As far as I know, yours doesn't. Can I suggest a few? Dave's Silver Balls, Dave's Golden Pins, Polished Balls Emporium, and we've also got a suggestion from a K-Log Gamer, Dave's Balls and Bells. So.
Yeah, well, I say keep your suggestions coming in. Who knows?
Well,
we could have a new
the font that I've used for your like the thumbnail tonight, and I've missed bloody retro off, which pissed me off, but I couldn't be bothered to go back and redo it. But it says Dave's Pinball. Huh?
That's my fault. I did the other day. I threw you off.
Did you? I was sure it wasn't retro Dave before, and I was like thinking. Has it always been retro Dave's Pinball Arcade, you bastard? I was going to ask you, but I didn't. I thought perhaps he did change it. I've just assumed he's Dave's Pinball Arcade.
I was hoping I'd do it before you did your little thumbnail. So don't worry. My fault. No, but I'm not. I can't think of a name. But yeah, keep on sending suggestions in. We could have a channel change again. Who knows?
But the font I use for the bit that says Dave's Pinball Arcade is actually the Porky's font, you know, from the film Porky's.
I don't know the film, but yeah, go on.
It's like an adult film really from the 80s, and I just
Right.
I just thought with that Pinball Wizard logo I used and the Porky's font underneath, it just reminded me of like the flashing neon sign from that film. So Nerdy Geezer says, what's your all-time favorite pinball machine? So let's go for one that you don't own. So, you know, one that you've played, obviously maybe at Arcade Club, maybe at Revival.
Yeah, the thing is, the only pinball machine I played back in the day was Adam's Family. And when I first started going to Arcade Club, that's the one I gravitated to because that's the one that I knew. And I didn't really play much of the others. I mean, I had a little go on a few other Twilight Zone stuff, but Adam's Family is one that I played whenever I went to Arcade Club, and that's what I played back in the day. The favourite one, my favourite machine. If I'm going to, I can only go on what it is now because I've only really played these ones the most. And for me, the Getaway, the first one that I got is my favourite out of all of them. I love it. It's such a fun
because it's your first love, Dave, is it? Is it?
Well, yeah, yes, it's my first love. But honestly, I can't explain it. It's just something about it. It's so fast. And because I had it the longest, I feel like I've got it dialed in. Like I kind of, this sounds really like stupid now, but when you can like, my hand-eye coordination is pretty good. So when the ball is on the flipper, depending on whereabouts that ball is where it's going to go. And in like a half a second, I can like see where it's landed and where it's going to go. And when you can like nail like the upper shot and just keep on looping the ball round and round and round, the machine's just going nuts because you're getting like every time you do it, it's getting 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. It's just so satisfying. And none of the other games here have got that shot. And for me, that's my favourite. It's so satisfying.
Pinball is massively, as you say, a hand-eye coordination. It's a skill game.
Yeah.
That you know, everyone can have a go at pinball.
Yeah.
But not everyone can be good at a pinball machine. Probably the same as arcade games. Like, you know, everyone can have a go at arcade games, but to get to a very good level, not everyone can do that. A load more questions.
Yeah.
Big game, Al. Question: how many hours a week do you spend playing pinball?
Okay, let me do the maths in my head. I'm going to say about between 8 and 12.
That's pretty good. I mean,
yeah, depending. I say a couple of hours, a few nights a week. I'll have a good 4 hours on a Saturday, a few hours maybe on a Sunday. So yeah, maybe about more 10 is like the average, I'd say.
No worries. That's cool. I mean, it's like people play video games for hours and hours and hours, but what I imagine playing pinball for a period of time would give you backache over that machine. Do you feel fatigue when you're playing that game?
You know what, right? Obviously before I had these, I was playing the arcade at the same time because I kind of had I kind of dedicate the same amount of time to coming out here that whatever I did, whether it was my console games or the arcade. So there was time when I got like Donkey Kong. Like you'd probably see from the early videos, I used to play the game for like 3 hours straight. Like to stand there playing it over and over and over, and I couldn't do it now because it just bored me. But at times I stand there and play it, but I got backache playing that more than these because I was hunched over quite a bit playing those games. And track and field did my hands in, my back, but these aren't so bad because you can kind of lean a little bit, but I tend to lean in the palms of my hands, but that's not a good thing to do because then you put all the strain on your wrists. So I do get my hands do ache a little bit, but then I have to try and stand up straight and just kind of play without leaning. So yeah.
So if we could all donate to Dave's Patreon for his carpal tunnel syndrome that's going to be coming in the next few years, that'd be great.
Yeah. That'll be track and field's fault. That will be, not these. It's RSI from that.
I was just thinking it would be more an upper backache because, like, the pinball position is probably similar to sitting at a laptop, but then again, our bodies are naturally more into that shape now than stood up straight on an arcade cab.
The thing is, though, a pinball game is normally over in like 3 minutes. If it's a quick game, you can be stood there and then you get up, move, and then have another go. You're not standing in that same solid fixed position. You are moving around a little bit.
No worries. That was just purely for my own interest. That was. Kieran Retro Reclaimer says, "Is box porn a thing of the past, or are you still partial to a cheeky minty box NES game?"
No, there's no minty NES games or SNES games. No, so it is a kind of thing of the past now. To be fair, I have grabbed a couple of Game and Watches in the background that I bought off a friend of mine.
You're not in that Facebook group, I mean, because I remember bloody Alex told me to join that, and I forgot all about it till you've just mentioned it.
Mate, just because I thought I got a good deal on it, and I thought I'd grab a couple of them. So I have got a couple of box game watches, and the Mario Brothers that I used to have, I've got back off my mate. But I haven't bought any NES or SNES or Game Boy and all that. No,
no problem.
Yeah, kind of in the past, but yeah.
Holster's asking a question that I was going to actually bring up. What's your favourite pinball video game?
Oh, what's the one on the Mega Drive? I can't think what it's called now. It's got
You've got Dragon's Furies 1.
Dragon's Fury, isn't it? That one. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a cool game.
No worries. I mean, I've got there's like a basic one that I quite enjoy playing on my Vectrex, to be fair.
Yeah.
But that's like I think with the video games one, they've got to get the speed right for it to be an enjoyable pinball game.
Yeah, Sonic Spinball's all right, but I think that's a lot more. I don't know. I think the other one's better. Sonic Spinball's all right, but yeah.
No worries. We've got a ton of pinball questions, which obviously we've got Retro Dave Pinball Arcade on. Eddie Rollercore says, "Have you played pinball in VR yet?"
No, I haven't, but I was on the phone to Cine Steve earlier on, and he's told me that he's played it, and he said it's amazing. And he says, when we get out of this and I can go down his way, he goes, you've got to try it out. He's got a mate that's got it, and he says, you've got to play it. So I'm gonna give it a try.
Brilliant. That would make a very interesting video for us all to watch.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to flog all these and buy a VR kit, stand in an empty room. But yeah, I'll give it a try.
Addy Sneak Freak says, question for Dave, what do you think of these 4K flatbed virtual pinball emulators?
I've never played one, so I can't comment. I've never played. I know there's a lot of people do say how good they are, but I've never actually played one. But I would definitely give one a try.
What I was going to say is I think Craig Goodwin's Place built like one himself out of a couple of tablets or something. Man, that's got to be a long while ago. I vaguely remember him doing something like that.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on a virtual full-size pinball machine with multiple tables built in?
I guess it's a similar thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, I think if you've got space for one machine, and you didn't want to commit yourself to one dedicated old game, or you had you weren't like, I need to have a getaway or whatever, then I think that would be an ideal solution. But I've not played one, so I can't really. I don't want to pass judgment because I've not played it. I might play and think, oh, this is amazing. Or I might play and think, no, that's not for me. But I think it's definitely a really cool idea. But I think I need to play one to kind of have any real opinion on it, I think. But
That's no worries. Just not to ignore, Clay, we did answer earlier, and your answer was Gremlins for a franchise or IP that would make a decent new pinball. We said Gremlins would be the ideal one. Yeah.
I mean, Stern is the biggest one. I don't know a great deal about the new stuff because I'm not on that boat. I'm in the old boat, the old Williams games. I mean, Jersey Jack, Stern, either of those, I think, would probably do. If anyone did it, it'd probably be them because they churn out all these licensed games. Stern do, so probably they'll put it and doing it. Things I don't know because I've not played any real new games, so I don't know really much about the quality of the games. I don't really know the ins and outs, so it's kind of hard for me to really say. I don't really know. But I imagine as a licensed theme, it's going to be Stern.
No worries. I imagine like literally anything that comes out now, especially in a big American franchise, somewhere has a pinball for it in America. I'm guessing, like your Family Guys and stuff like that sort of thing. Like, another question from Stu for Dave: if you spend 8 to 12 hours on pinball, how many hours do you spend doing chores? The wife has asked me to ask this, and then he later says your wife, not his.
How many hours do I spend doing house chores? Christ. As and when on a weekend, mate. I don't know. I can't put a time scale on it. I do chores every day. Don't know. I do more pinball than I do house chores. That's what you're getting at. And the missus knows it, but it's all good.
Brilliant. Interesting question. Question for both. Have you checked out the Intellivision Amico thoughts? Have you looked up anything about it?
I know Pete told me about this a while ago. He sent me a link to it. I don't think I've actually really looked into it much. I know Pete's a hard pusher on this Amico, I think. I've not really looked into it too much. Have you?
The only bits I know is that I catch bits of streams by a guy called OEB Pete. Every box opened or something like that. Pete, he does like different streams on the Evercade and the Amico. I know it's been delayed again. That's all I know, really, because I'm still waiting for Pete to send me a link to some videos to watch. I did ask the last time we asked him. But it's interesting because the Intellivision games, the old ones, are being released on the Evercade now. So there must be some sort of licensing gone on there. But I'd have thought if they thought the Amico was going to be a massive success, they'd want to keep them as an exclusive for themselves almost, really, unless they're using whatever money they've sold that license for to go into developing other stuff. Without knowing the ins and outs, I'm just purely guessing and speculation there. Question: have you seen the new trailer for the new Mortal Kombat film? I've not yet. I still have nightmares of the old ones.
No, what's it? Didn't know they were doing one.
Literally come out about 2-3 days ago. I'm more interested in the Godzilla vs King Kong film that's coming out. To be honest, that's more my thing. Question from Scott Sager, Saturn Lad. Just make sure I've not missed anything. Does he miss the? Does he miss uploading the gaming pickup IPs pickups can bring? Does he miss?
I miss uploads gaming pickups can bring. What's that mean?
I don't know. I'm guessing. Does he mean? Do you miss doing your pickups videos? Because you've done a lot of pickups videos. And I want to add to that. You've got a lot of like homebrew red NES carts. I noticed that I'd never heard of a lot of them.
Oh yeah, I've got them. Wait, that was when I first started doing videos. I think I ordered those. That was Jesus. That would be like 2012. I think I sold them to Kev in the end. Kev Wolford, I think had those.
I bet fucking Stu's got them then.
I don't know. The thing is, I see years ago doing the videos in a regular, adding to the collection was like I say, it was part of it. You know, you get new games in, do a video. You know, do I miss that? I don't know. I don't think I do. I think I enjoyed it while I was doing it. But yeah, I now want to do stuff as and when, kind of as when I'm doing something, like a new machine comes in or I'm fixing something. I've got to do an update video on stuff I've been doing on the machines here. But I mean, I don't know. I think that's what he means. Do I miss the regular uploads, the game pickups? But no, I think I enjoyed doing it the years I was doing it. I wouldn't say I missed it. No.
No problem. Stu's just commented he thinks Scott's cutting his hair while commenting.
yeah, he's got the buzz cut going. I want to see a picture of that on WhatsApp.
Question for Dave: how do you find the mechanical maintenance of the pinball machines? Do they break down often?
All the time. Yeah, I shit you not. I reckon the other week, 3 machines broke in a week. That's a record. 3 go down in a week, and normally it's pretty minor stuff. I got unlucky with the fish house fire that we had for Christmas time. That was a bit unlucky, but yeah, normally it's minor stuff. I had some weird like switch problems and balls not kicking out properly. A lot of it is just like a mechanical adjustment, or a bulb will suddenly stop working. It's like a bad connection. You have to kind of just reflow from solder on the connector. So a lot of it is either a reflower connector, a broken switch, adjust a switch, adjust some. Normally it's just an adjustment, but I've been pretty lucky that I've not had anything really, really major go wrong that's completely thrown me.
No, so you know, if a bulb goes out, is it like a chain and they all go out, or is it just like, you know, like a Fruity where that light's not out and it just pisses you off, so you have to get it fixed?
Yeah, well, I say it's weird because sometimes, I mean, I saw the theory, the bulbs, a couple of bulbs in there, 1 minute they'll work, and then you'll play the game, it'll stop working. Then you take the glass off and you adjust it, and it works. Then you put the glass back in, you have 2 games, it stops working again. So sometimes you have to, I need to, in some cases, take things apart and probably change the lamp socket, because they're obviously like 30 odd years old. So there's little, I said there are minor jobs that I've, to do. There's always little jobs to do. I think, and even if one of my games completely went haywire and wouldn't turn on properly, and it was a board problem, I wouldn't know how to fix that. I'd have to phone a friend for that one. But anything like, say, mechanical stuff where you think, right, well that moves to hit that, and if that's not hitting that, there must be something stopping that. So anything like mechanical spring or a nut or something bent, I think I'm okay. But anything, if it's on the board, then even I'd be stuck with that. I was coming in and turn it on, I hope it turns on, if I'm honest. Because sometimes you turn something on and you think, hang on a minute, why is it not doing that today? And that's something, sometimes it can throw up a problem, but yeah.
But you've had that problems with the arcade machines, I'm sure, as well, because, they're always like take a breath when you flick the switch on moment, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not ignoring 2 comments. I just want to ask this one because it ties in with what we're talking about. Nerdy says, "What's the most expensive fix you've had with a pinball machine?" You don't have to tell us how much. Just
so fix. We say fix, or it's like completely broken, or like a serviceable thing. So when Fishtails broke, like the board, like kind of had a little fire going on, I had to buy a new board, and that was like 60 quid. So it weren't a massive problem. But when I've done like the flippers on Terminator, that was like 100 quid to buy those. So I've probably spent on to get something working again, I'd say probably 60 to 100 quid so far. I've been quite lucky.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the total value of the machine, you're talking a very small percentage.
A lot of it's serviceable stuff. So a lot of it is, like a bulb. I mean, bulbs are like a quid, 50p a quid, depending on what bulb you have, obviously. But a lot of the wear is the flippers. So like a complete flipper mech, to buy one fully reassembled, all you've got to do is that you bolt it on the machine and solder 6 points, will cost you about 55 quid each side. Or if something wears out, like a plastic sleeve that the plunger goes in, they're like 50p. So you just buy the sleeve and change the sleeve. So a lot of it is very minor, cheap maintenance items. But if something major goes wrong, then depending on what game you got, it can be expensive. Yeah, the boards in the back are probably the most expensive things to replace. If you get a board, that can cost hundreds.
And of course, that's something then you've got to outsource for yourself.
You've got to try and find it. If you can't repair it, you've got to try and find it. Yeah.
No worries. We've got a few more questions. One from Time Walk James. Good evening.
Yeah.
Dave, do you remember unboxing that mint copy of Zelda on the NES years ago? It's a funny watch, man. You are proper blown away. So that must be a video from a long, long time ago.
Yeah, it must. I do vaguely remember that now. You must have a good memory. I do vaguely remember. I've got Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, so I'm not sure which one he's referring to, but both of them were mint. But yeah, I was buzzing when I got them. Yeah, I was pretty excited for both. I'm not sure which one he's referring to, but yeah, they were both. I can't remember which one he's referring to now, but they're both mint. So I probably reacted the same on both of them. But yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
Kieran from Retro Reclaimer remembers it as well. Yeah. So it's obviously a video that stands out in the collector's mind.
Yeah.
Another question from Pete Snestastic, who asked if I have Discord. I do have Discord, Pete. So if you can drop like your username and I'll add you later and then we can chat. So he says, does Dave still have his PVM?
No, it literally went about 2 weeks ago. And what I did was, so basically a mate of mine, he bought a large chunk of my cream of my Nintendo collection, if you like. So I sold a lot of stuff off over a couple of years on Facebook and eBay. And then what I had left, my mate, we come to an agreement, and he basically bought it off me over the course of a year. It's taken him a whole year to buy it off me. And I had the PVM left and a few games left. And we come to an agreement because I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take my Mario Game & Watch back. Because obviously I bought a couple of Game Watches and I basically swapped my PVM for the Mario Brothers and Zelda Game & Watch.
Nice.
So yeah.
So Pete, if you was after that, it's too late. It's
I have got a little Sony Trinitron TV that I play my console games on, but the PVM's gone.
No worries. A couple more questions from Tootie UK. For Dave, with the arcade / pins, what's the Lecky bill? I assume you don't have them switched on and running when you're not in there. No, I know you turn them on before this evening. So
yeah. Do you know what? I don't know. I think we got our smart meter installed about, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and I think we did a test run. So we know when you get something new, you ball the kettle and it goes, what it's cost you now? Like it jumps up, doesn't it? And I think I ran out here and turned on all the machines, and I think it worked out. It was like, I don't know, was it like 50p an hour or something like that? It weren't. I don't think it was a huge amount. Don't know. Is that amount? Is that expensive? I don't know. 50p an hour. I think that's about that. So
don't sound bad.
Yeah, about
that. Another question from Stu for Dave: do you miss console collecting?
No, not really. I say I miss collecting stuff. I think I'm always going to be a collector of something. I think you're either a collector. My missus, you know, and probably like a lot of our partners don't get it. You know, like why the fuck you know, like a couple of Game Watch turned the post. She's like, here we go again. You're getting fucking SNES games again soon. I said, no. I said, don't worry. I'm not going down that road. She knows me more than I know myself. I don't miss it. No, I do miss getting the odd new thing, a new game to, you know, there's always something new to get in there. You always want to get like a new game to play or a new something, like a new film to watch or whatever. So I guess I miss it a little bit, but I think I'm just not going to go nuts like I did last time, buying shitloads of stuff.
No,
so yeah, it's a middle ground. I miss it a little bit, but I don't miss it enough to go, right, I'm going to sell all these now and buy it all back. So yeah,
I think the one good thing is like that's only 7 items that have turned up at your house, and like you say, when you're collecting, well, I know you can come back some days and you got 6, 7 parcels, and you're like,
it's a slippery slope. Yeah, and that's this is the problem.
And a question again from Kieran, kind of links in. Any regrets selling up the collection at all?
I wouldn't say I don't regret it. There is times I do think like it took me a long time to source a lot of them games in that condition. I think it's more the time and effort that I put in to finding them, and then suddenly to think, you know what, screw this, I'm getting rid of them. So I do think sometimes about that. But the good thing is, I say a good mate of mine has bought all my favourite stuff. So whenever I go to his house, I can still go and see it. I can still play it around his house. So it's almost like a double win. So it's not gone forever. I can still, you know, see it, if that makes sense. But it's not on my shelves. It's in his now. So I don't think I regret it because I'm happy with the games I've got. I'm enjoying playing this. I don't miss coming in and not being able to choose something to put on, and all the, you know, and when you want to get rid of it, you got all the packaging, all that kind of stuff, and all that stress. So I don't know. I don't miss it, but I do think about it occasionally, thinking I did spend a lot of time doing that. So I kind of, if you can pick out of that what you will.
I guess, like with any of us, if money and space was never ever an issue, we'd have it all. And what I like is, Dave, is you've prioritised your interests. Like you say, you was consoles first, moved to arcades, now pinball. As long as you're happy with your collection, I mean, that behind you is as stunning as a shelf of games to me, that backdrop, you know, so as long as you're happy with it.
Yeah, the game, that's the thing, the games are good, getting the games, you know, and trying to scout out the best condition and all that, and having them all complete, and, you know, playing them every now and then. But I don't know, I just got to a point where I'm thinking, I don't know, I want to play something else and do something else. Then when I kind of got introduced to this stuff, and luckily I've got the space to do it, I thought, why not? Screw it. Just went and just did it. Because I know, like, if I ever wanted to play, I mean, I've still got a NES, a SNES, a PlayStation 1, I've got a TV, but they're EverDrives. I can still play them, but I don't own all the games. I know a few years ago that'd be sacrilege for me to say that, because it was all OG stuff. But it's like it's like a win-win. I can still play it all on the console, on a CRT, and I've now got these machines to play as well. Does that make sense? But yeah.
No, mate, that makes perfect sense. Funny question from Scott Sega Satellite. What's the worst engineering, an 80s American built pinball or a 70s built Dagenham dustbin Cortina?
The worst.
I'm sure my dad had a Mark III Cortina as well. Yeah. I think he drove it into an articulated lorry. He was lucky to be alive.
Well, that's why I had a Mark III Cortina, yeah. Worst engineering, I don't know, it's probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. I'd probably just a joke question. I'm going to say probably the car. Car fucking had it like a boat around corners. Yeah, go with the car.
8-bit Andy has got a question for you.
Oh, Andy's here. He's the reason I'm in this mess.
Dave, mate, when are you going to stop messing about with these antiques and buy a new in-box pin?
When they make a Gremlins, like we spoke about. They make a Gremlin, I'll have to chop in about 3 machines to buy 1 new one.
So there you go. Get on to the people who make and release the Gremlins, and then Dave will finally pop his new pinball cherry.
Yeah.
Sneztastic and a few others are reading into you answer about the game collection, saying, "Is this a hint that Retro Dave will return?"
I don't know. I might do a video on them. I don't know. I've only got a few, but I don't know. Is it even warrant doing it? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not really thought about it. I just kind of bought them and they've got them in the background. I was not really thought about it. I mean, I've got stuff to talk about with the machines, but I've not thought about doing anything on the Game & Watches as such. Don't know, maybe.
I find Game & Watches really interesting. I still think Mario, the Super Mario Brothers one, the blue one, probably plays the best out of them all for me. Yeah,
maybe. Perhaps I can do like I did with the video where I did like the showing it and playing it. Maybe do that. Yeah, possibly.
Andy says, "Haha, Gremlins is the dream, mate."
Yeah, that would be cool. Definitely.
Brilliant. So these I want to know more about them Red NES carts now that went to Kevin Wolford. So what were they? Were they homebrews or hacks or?
Yeah, they were hacks of the original Mario games. There
was Mario Adventure.
Yeah, that's it.
Extra Mario Bros, Splatterhouse, and Sweet Home were the 4 that I noticed.
Yeah, so Splatterhouse and Sweet Home are Japanese Famicom games, and they were translated into English.
Right.
And the other ones are just hacks of they're like a cross of Mario 3 with some Mario 1 and 2 elements in it. They're a bit of a hash. I never really got on with them. I can't play them for a bit and thought. I'm sure there's like a bit of a craze of everyone getting into those back in, like I say, 2011 time. And I think I grabbed a few. Was it Time Warp Games? I think it is. They're not going anymore. Yeah, I mean, I sold them a good couple of years ago to Kev now. I'm not sure what I grabbed to him.
I'm going to hit Kev up to see if he sold them then, to be honest.
You've only made a huge profit on them.
Because I've not seen them before. Like, obviously, you see the cheap Chinese knockoff ones, but these ones look really good. Like, and I was thinking it was before I was definitely collecting NES, so I just wanted to know a little bit more about them.
You can probably play those games on like some ROM file somewhere. I think things have come on a little bit since. You can probably get them for free now somewhere.
Yeah, but something about like, because I've got like the knockoff Pokemon one there that's just behind me. There's something nice about having a cart to put in a system and play. Question from James Time Warp just popped up. Sorry if I missed it already, but what stuff has Dave kept and rebought in items from retro gaming and consoles since going into pinballs? You haven't rebought anything.
All I've done is I've got the 2 Game & Watches that I gave to my mate. I sold to my mate. I swapped the PVM back for those 2 Game & Watches. That's it. I've not rebought anything else. I just got those 2 Game & Watches back.
No worries. I just thought I'd catch that.
But yeah, you ain't missed nothing.
So some of your other videos are featured at the Play Expo, like a lot of other tubers. So talking about your experiences at Play Expos, and also obviously that would probably include meeting tubers who were some of the first tubers you interacted with.
I think the first event I went to was Play Blackpool. I think would have been 2014.
Correct. I've got it written down here. That's how I know.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know it was a good. That was. I'm sure that was the first event I ever went to. And it would have been. I think Jay would have been there. I think I went to Jay's house. I think I picked Jay up. I picked Jay up, and I think we went to Richard Turner's. I think, and then we went to the Norbreck. God, I can't think who was there. Obviously, Tootie was there. Jesus, I can't even remember.
Jesus was there as well. Metal
Who?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right. Raz was there.
Oh, I want to talk to you about Raz because I noticed you'd done a deal with him. Was he called Swede Gamer then or something?
Yeah,
Swede Gamer Raz.
Swede Gamer Raz. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but there was quite a few people that I can't even remember. I've been to play a couple of times and to Revival a few times. Oh, I loved it. I love going to the events. But the Norbreck was a dump. I think the first time we went there, me and Joe, we stayed in a room in there. Oh, the only good thing about it is that we were literally, if I remember rightly, when you come downstairs from the room, it was literally at the back door of the event where the arcades were. So we were like filling our boots from the stalls and then able to literally run up the stairs, offload all the shit in our room and go back. I remember that. I remember doing that. That was so years ago. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool events. I definitely want to go to Revival again this year. I'm not sure I'll go to Play. I think Play was more like, it's got a lot more newer stuff there, a lot more stuff I'm not really into. I'm not really bothered about all the new Xbox and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's more the retro side of it. So I think I'll definitely be going to like, Wolverhampton again, Revival and stuff, and that's on.
I mean, Revival usually has quite a nice big pinball section as opposed to what Play has, really.
It's like, you're looking around the stalls, you're looking around all these people like handmade crafts and stuff. I've got like these these coasters. People
I know the girl who makes them.
Yeah. What's her name?
Oh, Kirsty.
Huh?
Kirsty, her name is.
Yeah, Kirsty. Yeah. So things like that, like little cool things that people make. I like going around the stalls and obviously the machines and all the stands and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I do like Revival. That'll be my favourite event.
And also, obviously, you enjoy Arcade Club. How long? Do you remember your first time ever going to Arcade Club?
Does it stand out as an? I think I've only been there maybe 6 or 8 times, maybe. I don't think I can specifically remember the very, very first one because it all kind of amalgamates into one, doesn't it? My memory's terrible. But I just remember going there and loving it, and I remember doing like 12 hours. I'd go there and do like 12-hour stints in there. Like I'll get there for when it opens at 12, and I'm out there when they turn the plugs off at like half 12, midnight. I love it. Yeah, when I'm in there, mate, I was like, I'm on it playing. I mean, there was a lot of rivalry with Craig here again playing track and field. He was teaching me all he knew, and I was beating him at his own game. That was quite a bit of satisfaction.
Of course, we can't talk about your gameplay without telling me about the Simpsons episode with Cinny Steve.
I think he mentioned this bit. We were at the Leeds arcade club, and there's the bit on the bonus there. We got to pop the balloons, and obviously with my track and field fingers, I was like scratching the buttons, and I think the couple sitting next to us, she was like, "The fuck's he doing?" Scratching the buttons like a madman. She must have thought, Jesus, he's got fast fingers. It was hilarious.
I think it was you who first brought it up on Alex's stream, and then I just carried it on last week because it just seemed. I bet that woman looked at her boyfriend and said, "Why don't your fingers move as fast as his?"
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I remember that.
Brilliant. I've got a question from Stu to UK. Does Dave miss his old job finding the gold items in houses such as the does?
Yeah, I tell you what, that was a perk of the job, surveying houses, and because you have to look in all the cupboards and the loft, and that's normally where you find people's old tap, in cupboards. And I did, as you've seen this in the videos, I have found on jobs stuff before, I was either given it or given it for next to nothing. But the dildo I was referring to was I was in an empty flat somewhere. I can't remember where it was now. And I think the tenant, as a joke, left a whacking great dildo on the windowsill in this place I was working in. And also, I did a video on it, and also the dildos in the video. But I don't miss that, because there was some grimy, nasty places. But yeah, getting the games was cool. Definitely.
Did it have fluff stuck to it? The dildo like stuff.
It was just dirty. Yeah, it looked like it. Yeah.
I've got a story about a fucking dildo and vibrator. At the boot sale, right? I was this woman was pouring out a bag, and I was about to grab this PlayStation 1, and literally as I'm reaching for it, like 2 fucking like rampant rabbits just fall out and land on it, and I'm like, whoa! And I was just thinking, I don't need that fucking PlayStation 1 that much, because they were clearly used, and I just walked away, man. I've seen a guy as well pick one up, because like we have the house clearing stalls, and there's this woman. We call them the smellies, the couple, and the woman. I see this guy pick up a vibrator and pretend and like put it in her pocket and going, "What's that?" and fucking point to taking the pic. Like, you know, we're all adults, but there's nothing more funny than a vibrator or a dildo. Another question from Stu: who has the better stance, you or Cinny Steve?
I think Cinny Steve takes that. He has got the leg spread going on when he plays his games. I'm more hunched over and kind of like this, tense, and he's kind of got this like his legs spread apart, you know, past the machine kind of thing. Yeah, Steve takes the stance. I'll give Steve that one.
I think Alex would be upset that he's not put in that mix as well.
Yeah.
But his stance is probably all fucked up now, because his arm's about as good as mine in it today. Yeah. I've not had any chance to talk about UK VAC the previous 2 weeks, so I'm going to talk about it with you. So, do you have any involvement with organising or anything like that, or are you just purely a member?
I'm just a member on the forum, and I mean, I've very little input really on the forum, other than just I used it to find my machines. Really,
have they kicked you out now? You like collect pinballs? Have they booted you out now? You collect pinballs?
There is a UK VAC arcade collectors WhatsApp group that I'm in, and I did jokingly say when the last 3 cabs went out the door, "Am I getting a permanent ban now?" Laugh out loud. But no, I'm still in. I'm not kicked out yet.
So just explain to someone who doesn't know what sort of meetups and stuff you have, and like where are they usually based? Are they based at Arcade Club now, or are they all over?
What the UK VAC stuff?
Like the meetups and stuff like that I know Alex organises.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing is with that. That's more just like meets at people's houses. It's kind of like I'm pretty sure from what I've know on the pinball side, it's a very similar thing. People have like a collection of games, and if you kind of like get matey with them and they kind of suss you out that you're not a complete weirdo, you might get an invite to their house, or you might Alex will like, oh, you know, so and so's got a meet on with a +1. Do you want to come along? Kind of thing, and then you kind of get introduced to people that way. So it's just basically meets at people's houses, really. I think obviously the bigger meets and stuff Alex did at Arcade Club, but I've only been to, I think, the Skyscraper reveal that he did. And I think there was going to be another one that was going to be last year, but obviously that was cancelled. But yeah, I don't have a great deal of involvement in it, only that I just, if I get invited, I'll go.
You was the cameraman, weren't you, for the Skyscraper thing? Were you his cameraman for his video?
No, I did a bit of video. I did just phone up. I can't remember now. I did something on my phone, and I think he had someone else doing the main thing. I think it's Harry Bolt. I think was his mate doing a lot of it. Don't know. I can't remember.
I just know you were there. You were there with Alex when they did the whole unveiling thing.
Oh right, yeah. I can't remember. I don't think I was like his main like camera person. I don't think it was ever like that. I think I was just there doing a bit of videoing, but it weren't like that.
Stu says, might get an invite if you're not a weirdo. That's was like.
Well, this is it, mate. Yeah, this is why. Yeah, this is why I don't get invites, Stu.
Well, Stu will turn up to anything anyway. He'll turn up to an opening of an envelope. Addy Sneaker Freaks of UK that means key and bowl things.
Oh yeah. Well, this is it. This is it. But all jokes aside, I mean, in all seriousness, like with the pinballs thing now, I've had someone message me out of the blue on the pinball forum, because there's 2 separate forums, and just said, "Oh, I noticed you live in my area," and I was like, "Obviously you're thinking, what's this one about?" And he's like, when this madness calms down, perhaps I'll meet up, have a beer, and play some games. I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So it's a bit like that. I think people just reach out and are quite happy to, you know, have that mutual thing going on.
I was just going to say that. Is there a sort of similar sort of organisation for pinball? Have you moved your way in, sort of thing? What sort of things that like?
Well, obviously, I was going to go. There's I've not been to any like proper pinball events. I was going to go to one last year in Daventry, which is Pinfest, which is on every year. But obviously, last year was cancelled. That would have been my first one. So I've not actually been to any proper pinball events at all. But I do want to go, obviously. But yeah, just on the point of, you know, doing meetups and stuff, it was just a similar thing where I've been invited. Alex invited me to his. Then I got to meet people he knows who then saw me at Alex's house, thinking, oh, that day was all right. I'll invite him round with you if you want next time. And that's kind of how it works. If you get invited to one, then normally you might get invited to a few other people. So I guess it's a similar thing in the pinball thing, I'd assume.
No, that's cool. I was just thinking, because I sometimes hear stuff where people in the arcade community weren't always helpful. There was a core of people who was helpful if you needed to fix some of the stuff like that. What's the pinball community like? Are they really helpful? Were you getting you fixing stuff, finding, or have you just searched everything off your own back?
A lot. Well, to be fair, if I've put something up on the on UK VAC, I don't know actually. I'm trying to think of an example. Definitely in the pinball thing, if I've needed something, I've put an ad up, and I've 9 times out of 10, someone's come back and said, "Oh, I've got one of them," and either they'll send you for nothing and say that you make use of it, or they'll search you for a good price, and you know they're happy to get the game back up and running for you. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people are really helpful. So yeah, I think if you're in a hobby like this or anything, I guess if you're in a car hobby, you know, if you've got a classic car, it's no different. If you want to, let's say that I used to be in the Ford Capri Owners Club, for example, when I'm in my car. If you need, I don't know, fucking hell, a starter motor, I don't know, I'm trying a brake caliper. Off the top of my head, I remember I needed a brake caliper for the car. I didn't really want to go full out for a brand new pair of calipers. I was quite happy with decent used ones. You put like a request up, someone go, oh yeah, I've got a pair of calipers, you have for 50 quid or something. It's a bit like that with anything you're in. You know, it's a bit like the retro gaming WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups. Oh, anyone got a manual for Mario 3? Oh, I've got one of them. You can have it for 50p for the price of a stamp. It's a similar thing. If you put something up, you'll get people 9 times out of 10 will come back with something. Go, oh, I've got this, or will this help? So it's, and I've reciprocated. People have put out saying, anyone got a coin door for a getaway? And I've like, oh, I've got a spare coin door. So I was messaging you, I've got one. How much you want for it? Nothing. They said, pay the postage, you can have it. Oh, really? So it's just a bit like that. It's a bit of give and take. So yeah, I've not had much experience with UK VAC for that, because again, I really just use that to buy and sell my machines. But the pinball stuff, I've needed a lot of parts. A lot of it has been through that, asking the help.
No, I'm about to ask a question. I'm not sure if it's Stu trying to be funny or if he's being serious, which is the hardest thing to tell because he's got the same monotone voice in text as he has. I went to an event called Pintastic. No fucking tables to be found, but a load of folks walking around with piercings in the oddest places.
I don't know where he's been going. It sounds like some fucking...
It sounds like the sort of place that's right up his street, to be fair. So he's probably got a ticket to go next year.
That sounds like something around the back of a BP services off a motorway somewhere. So with a glory hole somewhere, I reckon.
Oh, Stu wouldn't even get sucked off in a glory hole. Fucking hell. He's got to get through that flipping 5-0 pie first. So we'll just talk a little bit about YouTube now. So obviously you started off with the cars, but what started the... Do you know what your first gaming video was? I forgot to ask you that. Do you know what your very first gaming video was? 8 years ago.
I do actually, I think. So my first gaming video would be, I think it was trying to repair cleaning the NES carts.
Yes, bang on. Yeah.
Oh man, that's like awkward. I can imagine how awkward that'd be to watch now. But basically, I had a NES obviously in some games, and I kept on watching other people online working. Oh, my NES don't work. My NES keeps flashing. I think all we got to do is just clean the game, and it'll work. Just clean it. And people blowing it, and they're blowing it. It does work. You're blowing it. Nice and so now we'll sort it out. But you want to clean the contacts. So people were using all kinds of like weird sandpaper, and I kept on seeing these people like doing these like the horrendous things to try and get their games to work. And I thought I'll just share how I do it. Just a bit of Brasso and a bit of isopropyl alcohol, clean it off. Game works first time, never had any problems. So I thought I'll kind of like do that. And that was like my first video that I did was cleaning a NES game to get it to work. And it'd be Gremlins, I think, because that was like my favourite game.
Yeah,
So,
that's one of your early games in your collection of Gremlins. You know what? I used to search eBay for faulty NESes, and then they used to write it got a flashing red light, and I used to think, yes, here we go, I can get that working, no problem.
yeah.
I think every man and his dog now, even people who aren't into gaming, know how to fix that. So,
yeah.
What made you decide? Did you know, obviously after that first video, and then you started doing your pickups? What made you want to go down a YouTube journey, and what have been your experiences over the last 8 years of like obviously the evolution of your channel?
Yeah, I started watching. I think AVGN was the first channel I really found, because obviously I've always been into games. I remember I somehow came across. I think I searched like Turtles on the NES or something like that, and I saw that the Turtles video that AVGN did. I remember watching it and found it hilarious, because all the little traits in that game where like you kind of like get knocked or fall down in the water and all that kind of thing, and trying to hop over a space. I remember having the exact same frustrations. I found it like really funny. And I kept looking back at other games he'd done. I was thinking, that Festus Quest and things like that, like how slow and how just trudging through, and how the weapons wouldn't hit nothing. You know, I just thought this is exactly the thing that I was experiencing. So I found that interesting. So I thought there's got to be other people doing this like kind of stuff, and you kind of like you go down the YouTube rabbit hole, don't you? And you start finding all these different channels. I think, I was looking at like retro games, like UK channels and all this kind of stuff. And I remember finding like Tootie obviously was in there.
Everyone says that.
Ninja Bear, stuff like that. And I just started watching other people doing it, thinking, oh, these people like in the UK, there's other people like me that into this stuff. Because you kind of thought you are the only person doing it. Because before I started doing YouTube, like the circle of friends I had, no one was like collecting games. I think one of my friends had his original N64 and stuff, but he wasn't actually actively buying or playing them. He kind of had them in his cupboard. So I thought, well, how can I find other people that are a bit like me that are into games? And then I found, like I say, YouTube, and it went kind of from there. When I realised there's, you go in the comments of like people's video and you think, oh, they're commenting. What are they doing? Oh, they're doing it as well. So you then subscribe to them, and then you're in this like spider web of like channels that all kind of watch each other. And that's kind of how I got into it. And I think after a while, I thought maybe I could have a go at doing this and sharing what I'm doing. I'm not into my Nintendo stuff mainly, so I started then putting up videos around that, and then that's how it just kind of grew from there. That's basically where I started.
So, is there any YouTubers who like you used to interact with, like say 8 years ago, who are on here now, who you wish they kind of were still doing videos, sort of thing, like some of your early days? Who do you remember like being really supportive when you first started?
Well, Tootie, Jay, Cybersnake, Pete, Snestastic, Ninja Bear Hug, but he doesn't do videos anymore. Woodlin, when
Carl.
Carl's
funny man. I wish he'd do more videos. I know he
yeah.
did his Neo Geo bowling thing the other day.
And 16-Bit Brothers, they're not around anymore. All that. There must have been about 6 or 7 channels I used to watch a lot all the time and comment and stuff, and then they would watch my stuff, and that's kind of how it all started. Yeah.
So do you still watch some of the newer YouTube? So I think now, like especially in the last probably 2 years, there's so many new channels. It's hard to keep up and watch everyone's stuff. Like I try and comment. I try not to like just watch because there's someone I know. I watch the content that interests me, and I try and comment on that all the time. I will admit sometimes I watch late on night when I'm in bed and I have to go back the next day and write a comment, because I don't like leaving someone a shit comment when I'm half asleep. You know what I mean? I like to be sat at my laptop so I can type it rather than, because I'm all fingers and thumbs on my phone typing, really. A bit like Sega Saturn lad with his question that he's got here.
What's he putting now?
He's got, does Dave still have his, he means NES, signed by Pat the NES Punk, Metal Jesus Rocks, and other big...
Do you know what? I think I do, and I think it's in the loft.
Tell us about that then, because I didn't even know you had this.
So basically, I I got so a good few years ago now, when I was scouring eBay like a madman trying to find stuff, I saw a listing for a NES and a load of cartridges, and the picture, it had been taken in a loft, and it was very like, the picture was like from a distance. She just saw like a load of cartridges like scattered around on loft insulation, right? But I could see that the cartridges had these like weird like white labels on them, and I knew straight away what they were, and they were demo carts for the shop display M82 demo unit. So there were carts on loan from Bandai that they supplied, that shops would put in the machines for customers to play. And I could spot the label from the shit photograph that was on there. So I was like bidding on this thing, thinking, please, I've got to get this right. And I ended up winning it for like real cheap. It was like 136 quid. I couldn't believe that. It was like cheap. It was like, must have been about, what was there, 20, no more than that. Was there 30 odd games plus the console? I didn't really care about the console, I just wanted the games. And I won this auction and I got them delivered. And I remember I think I did a video on them. And I sold half off to a collector that had an M82 demo unit for a tidy profit, and kept the other half. And then I thought, well, I've got a couple of doubles. So I was talking to this channel, oh Christ, what's his name? Luigi Freakout 123, I think it is. And I don't think they do videos anymore. It's American. It was a son and a father channel, and I was really like, what? Because they're into the Nintendo stuff as well. And a lot of it was like NES, trying to get a full NES set and N64 set, I think it was. So I was chatting to them in the comments, and they're all getting up, collecting all the weird and wacky Nintendo stuff, like signs and oddities and stuff like that. And I said to them, oh, I said, I'll do a trade. What did I trade them for now? I said I'd send them one of these demo carts, and they were like, oh, what's that? And I sent them a picture. I can't know, they might have emailed them. They were like well interested in it. I said, well, I'll send you one of these cartridges and just send me something back, like something from a convention or something like that. And they were going to the Portland Metro Gaming Expo. I said, just get me something from there, and then, you know, send me something that I can't get over here. So I posted this cartridge off, and they were like buzzing about it. And then in the return, they sent me an NES console that they took around the convention, and they had loads of people sign up. AVGN, Pat the NES Punk, all the big tubers at the time. They signed 2 NES consoles. One went to somebody else, I don't know who it was, and the other one came to me. And I was like, at the time, I was like, wow, that's just like crazy. Like, so I don't know, I know a lot of them are, but I just thought it was nice as a unique gift. They could have sent me anything. They could have sent me like a USA NES game that I perhaps couldn't get here easily. But they thought they'll go out their way. They thought we'll get him something that he's not going to get anywhere else, which is what I kind of wanted. And just got everyone to sign this NES. So I have got it. I think it's in the loft in a box.
That's good that you've still got it, because that is a personal
thing
that was just for you.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't get rid of it. No, I wouldn't put it on eBay or no. I've kept it. But I've got no.
Put it in a glass cabinet on the wall in the pinball room.
Yeah. I've got nowhere to put it, so I've put it up in the loft.
And then we'll get you a spare NES, and we'll get Tootie to sign it.
Yeah.
Pete Armour, Alex, everyone who we know can sign it, and then you'll have a UK versus US one.
Yeah, that's it.
Question for Dave: how much does he want for it? Tootie UK.
Oh, I couldn't put a price. I don't know. I won't sell it.
Kev Wolford's finally turned up. Kev, I've got a question for you. I know you're here as a watcher, but have you still got them red NES cartridges that Dave sold you? If so, are they for sale? Fuck Tootie. I've called first dibs. Just a question there. Eddie says, does anyone want an Evercade signed by the Gebs 24? Probably the Gebs would love it because you could talk about it. Stu said he'll do a video burning the fucker. You'll probably get a couple of watches there. But joking aside, you know, that is a great item from the guys who sent you. Like, it's a real thoughtful thing to do. You know.
And they sent me all the leaflets from the day, like the Gaming Expo. I got like a poster,
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I've got all like the cards, all like their entry cards and all that kind of stuff that you'd get. I've got all that with it. I've got it like folded over in the NES, and I've got a bit of paper, everyone that signed it. So he's written down everyone that signed it on a piece of paper. So it's all, I've got it in the NES flap inside the console.
Brilliant. Pete's NES-tastic's got another question. If Blaze release a home console Evercade, would you be interested? Now, this is it's the thing is with the Evercade, if you know nothing about it, Dave, the emulator is actually on the cart, so the options are pretty endless in a way with it. You know, there is talk that there is going to be a home console that you could hook it up to. Because the one thing I'd probably say it misses is like an arcade stick or something for it, or if they added like some sort of multiplayer. I think it's something that started out being pretty crap. Even I think this, but it's starting to build a bit of momentum. And if they're getting talking with the big publishers and stuff like that, especially for someone like you who doesn't want to collect, say, this anymore.
Yeah.
If you could have like a multi-cart with like 20, 30 games on that you plug into a home console, would that be something that may interest you? Especially if they get the arcade ports?
Possibly. I mean, I've got the other drives for like the NES, the SNES, and the Game Boy and stuff like that, and the Mega or Genesis. I'm trying to think it depends what it'd be for. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I've got a PS1. If I could have like a load of PS1 games, that'd be quite handy.
Currently they've got the Atari Lynx. They've got the Atari Lynx cartridges out, so that's a different option. I said I'd like to see them do like home, like the home computer collections, like if they did like a Ultimate Play the Games cart, something like that. Because everyone's going on about and making like the higher end games, like your arcade ports. I think there's a market for like bundles of like the old stuff where you're not loading tape, sort of thing.
Yeah, mate. I know literally nothing about it. I've not even researched it. Maybe I should.
You know, it's not as shit as I thought it was going to be really shit, but it's because Blaze have made some shit in the past. It's a decent little handheld, and it's got some good ideas, and it seems like they're getting some traction with it. I know Tootie says money for old road, but he can sit there on his Windows 95 PC playing his fucking emulators on a fucking keyboard because he's a fucking PC master race geek. I don't like playing games on a PC. I never have done. I like consoles. It's kind of why I don't ever play any PC games, like other than Football Manager, because it's a good game. Other than that, but there's your answer, Pete. We don't know, but I know there is definitely talk of one maybe being in the pipelines, and I'm guessing they can get a little bit more hardware and push it a little bit more. And I imagine it wouldn't be a big console. I'm probably guessing it'd probably be like a NES mini side because they don't need that much, and the cartridges are small anyway because it'd have to be cross-platform. Who knows? Stu says if Blaze ever made a decent console, I'd bear my arse on Broadgate. I don't know where that is, but I'm definitely never going there just in case Stu ever thinks they make a good one. So you mentioned earlier about your vinyl. And I know you've moved your data disc on. Of all your data discs on, because you got into them really early doors, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I did. And I still
5 years ago, I think you got your first one.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, the only two reasons why I sold them. One, I needed to buy some bits for Tap from Ask. It broke. I needed the money. And I sold them because I can't play them because my record player's in the loft. And for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to have anywhere to set up like my amp, my deck, and my speakers. So I thought, well, if I can sell these to a couple of mates now, I could really use that money to put in something I need to fix. So that's why I got rid of them. Not that I don't like them, just that I just needed to free up some money from somewhere. So,
so I'm glad I got it on the Turtles thing because I'm not going down. Was you going down that rabbit hole of the full set, or were you like me cherry picking? No,
I just wanted. I wanted the Streets of Rage ones, which I had. And like the Golden Axe, I think I had Hang On, but I traded that with Pete on a retro tip for what was that for? Golden Axe? Was it Golden Axe? Can't remember now. But I did a trade with him for that one. But I hung on to the Streets of Rage. But yeah, I sold them recently because I needed the money for something else. But they are cool. They are awesome things to have.
I must admit, because I quite play, like just to my left of me here, I'm looking, I've got my Spectrum, and some of them games don't have music. So like I can have my record player on, just playing something in the background while I'm playing other games that have just got sound effects sort of thing.
Yeah, Streets of Rage is awesome as well. Game, the music on that's awesome.
I'd have had that off you, but I'd already got those two.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 1 and 2. Quite serious question here because he's thinking of changing his name again by the looks of it. I'm thinking Snez T, the Amico kid. Shorten it to that, man. Or Snezzy T, the Amico kid.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But surely, you know, everyone knows who you are anyway, Pete. You could just be the Amico kid to us. Just keep your little avatar the same. There's probably only Stu who'd get upset if you kept your name and did something else. I don't know. We don't really care, Pete. We like you for who you am, and if you want to change your name, change it. As long as you don't have numbers in, because then you'll have the YouTube mafia hunting you down to get the fucking numbers out your name. Even though your missus bought you a plaque for that Christmas with your numbers on the end of it, which still reminds me about. Eddie says if they bring out an Evercade featuring composite out for the... Actually, there is something called the Super Retrocade that has already got some arcade ports on that you can hack. That'll be... I've picked one up actually where you can plug a USB card into it and put your own games on. I'll be featuring that soon. That's got both out, so you've got so you could hook it up to a CRT or you could hook it up to a modern. Scott Sager Zombie says, "What arcade game would you want back in the collection, Dave?"
Well, one that I've sold.
And no, anything. If you, I'm guessing. Okay, we'll do both. We'll do one that you've sold, and then one if you know money was no option, you could have any cab you want.
Yeah, I'd have a Time Pilot back. I also sold it because I needed the room, but I was never happy with the condition that cabinet was in. It was always a bit of a dog. The cabinet was rough. So I'd have if I had the space and I like I say lost a pin somewhere, I'd quite happily have a Time Pilot back. And I think I'd quite like a driver. If I've not had before. I'd quite like maybe like a Sega Rally or an Outrun or something like that, like a racing game. I had Special Criminal Investigation before, but I wouldn't mind a driver, a racer of some sort.
No worries. Scott says, "I have the Hang On now, Dave," or something.
Scott, which one? Which
Sega Saturn lad. Sorry, he says, "Yeah."
I have that Hang On now.
I don't know what he means. Did you used to have a Hang On?
No, not an arcade. Oh, it's like the vinyl.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I traded that with Pete, and Pete must have sent it to Scott.
I must have missed out on that one because that's not one I've got. I know Dads and Lads had one that I didn't get either. Pete Sneztastic says, "Has Dave seen the trailer for Playing with Power, the NES story? Came out today on YouTube."
No, not seen it.
I'll tell you what pisses me off, man, with a lot of the documentaries and stuff that get released, it's all about fucking America's history of video games, like the rest of the world never have fucking played a video game in their life.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I didn't know there was one coming out. I have to look it up tonight when I'm in bed before I go to sleep. I'll look at that. Nintendo story.
Yeah, I mean, because
got it.
I always feel once you've watched a few of them, you've watched them all, because they all go on about this video game crash that only fucking happened in America. Video games were thriving in England and Europe in the home computers. And, and it does piss me off in a way because a lot of people seem to see that and then think that's the history of British gaming as well. And it's completely and utterly fucking not really. You know, if anything, the Nintendo didn't, other than down south and London way, Nintendo didn't do well at the beginning. It was more Sega in the rest of this country. It wasn't until probably the Super Nintendo and the old 16-bit battle where it leveled out a bit.
Yeah.
So, what's it say? Playing with Power is about the dark side of Nintendo and how they fucked over the devs. Oh, so that might be interesting then. Is that the one you mentioned earlier? It's got a ton of industry people interviewed, including my Lord and Saviour, Tommy Talarico. I'm not going to even try and pronounce that.
I'll have to look at this. If it's only come out today, I've not even had a chance to even go on YouTube much today, so I'll have to look it up later.
A serious question I'm about to ask you now from Addy Sneaker Freak. Would you give Tootie a reach around to get Time Pilot back?
No.
No, I wouldn't either. You'd have to have some long fucking arms, to be honest.
I I'm going to say I'd have a time on the back. I'm not that desperate.
Fair enough. Steve's agreeing with me. The home computers were massive. So we're coming into the last 15 minutes. I want to know what your plan is for the future of the collection and the channel. You know, you just can carry on what you're doing. If you said Demolition Man's going, so that must mean you have some idea of what's coming in. Yeah,
I've basically, there's 2 games I'm after, and I'm quite happy to take either one, whichever one comes first. So I've got a buyer. I've got a couple of people interested in Demo Man. One person's very interested. So I think if I can get a deal done on another game, then that will be going. So yeah, I said there'll be a video on when I get a new game. I say how often that's going to be now, I don't know. It might be every few months. Then you, like say, all we got fishtails, I took it apart, cleaned it up, so there'll be like some videos and that kind of thing. I might do a video saying the game watch, just not sure. Could do. Didn't think about it. I was thinking more like the pinball thing, but possibly. But yeah, that's basically what I was thinking of doing, really. So the videos will be a lot more few and far between, but yeah.
I was thinking, because I know you occasionally go live playing on Facebook, don't you?
Yeah.
So does Alex. I think you could bring that.
Yeah, do that as well. Yeah, the live video.
I think you could bring that to YouTube, do it on stream or probably OBS, because you can get an app where it will read the comments to you.
Ah.
So because I think that's what you miss when you're playing, is the interaction of what someone's saying, because the Facebook audience and the videos can be so temperamental. But I know Russ, when he used to stream, he had like a voice that read the comments to him, so you can carry on playing, and like listen to the comments and carry on playing, and that had a bit more interaction, sort of thing.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I have done a few live videos on the pins before, but there's been very casual, just on a Sunday afternoon kind of thing. But yeah, I could certainly do that as well. Yeah,
I mean, what I'd be interested in is like seeing you set a high score at some point, and then I don't know, that be a target to beat in the future, sort of thing.
I think also, I guess people that don't know the game might just see me banging the ball around and might not know what I'm doing. And I'm thinking more like the group of friends that we're in, our little group, where you might see a game and think, oh, Dave's smashing the ball around, but what is he actually doing? So I'm thinking perhaps I might do videos on how each game needs to be played and what you're supposed to do, like the objectives, and then a stream might make more sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you know what you're meant to be doing, or if you know what I'm doing, then you might have half an idea of where I'm trying to do or go on the game.
Yeah, I just thought it was another idea, because I know there is some sort of software and stuff out there that you could probably do, especially being as now you've bothered dragging the PC out.
It's on the floor next to me, yeah.
SNES-tastic, he's determined to get some SNES back. Will Dave ever rebuild a curated SNES collection?
No, I don't think so. No, I think I've had 2 collections now. If you ignore my childhood games, if I'm going back to 2005, from 2005 to 2009 that went. And then I had my daughter, and then it started again in 2011 until the last few years. I've done it twice. I don't intend on doing it a third time. So I'm going to say no, but I'll eat my hat if I ever do.
Well, you've said it here now. This stream will be live forever. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be clipped if you ever bring a collection back. But my question is, are you still going to be at the gaming events? Because obviously a lot of them are like, I know Revival has pinball and stuff like that, but it would be good to see you at Blackpool still and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I'm still going to the events. It's not. I'm not like, oh, I'm not collecting retro games anymore. I'm not. I'm not gonna go anymore. Not at all. I still love my games. I still play. The thing is, it's a bit of a ghetto setup now. If I want to play Mario 2 or what I was the other night, I've got to pull the TV out, which is under the pinball there, and I've got a wooden stool. I sit the TV on a stool. Seriously, and I'll sit against the floor, or I'll put the TV here next to me on the desk, and I sit in the chair and do it. I have to pack it all away again the next day. So I'm still playing. I'm still playing the games. It's not like I don't like the games anymore. So yeah, still definitely going to the events. I'm still going to have a look around the stalls, and just I like doing that. So nothing's going to change in that respect. But I'm just not going to start blowing loads of money buying loads of games anymore. That's the plan.
Nah, that's cool. I feel like I need our tunes music to start playing now. Here's Dave with all his pinball machines, but he's only got a poor stool to sit on and drag his Sony Trinitron from underneath to play his retro games. Please help if you can. Send him £2.50 each month, please, so he can get a cushion for his stool. Sega Saturn Lad talks here about something about a Dreamcast book year one, all based around the European Dreamcast. He didn't stop the bitter Yanks moaning. The thing is America's that sort of country. It's only in America, isn't it? You know, unfortunately, we revolve around the sun, not America. And you know, I don't dislike America. I'd love to go at some point. It's just when you're in like the YouTube bubble, you just see that, you know, they think they invented the video game some days, and that's what pisses me off a lot of the time. You know. Steve's asking about the Discord and after parties. As Steve wants a few beers, that's for sure. So yeah, definitely, I'd love to see you do some, because I think Facebook is a wasted platform for trying to do those sort of videos. I think you'd be better setting up something in advance, like kind of advertising it in those groups where the people are interested. But the reason you don't ever seem to hold an audience there is because they're getting no interaction sort of back sort of thing, and the chat's terrible on there. Whereas even a chat here where they're talking amongst themselves is much better than what you get over on Facebook, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's with like streaming gameplay. I mean, a lot of people, I say a lot, some people have like proper like streaming rigs. They've got these like things around the machine. They've got like cameras, and you've got a camera on the playfield, a camera on you, a camera on the screen. And I ain't going down that road. I've got a camera.
Do they have like button cams? You know, like how gamers have keyboard cams. Do they have button cams on the side of the?
I've seen some of them got like the playfield from above, and then you've got like another camera pointing at the display, another camera pointing at the person playing. And I ain't doing all that. I'm not investing that much in the bloody setup. I'm just going to go iPhone on a stand, point at it, and I've just been glancing around at the phone, seeing what comes up. Like I said, with YouTube, the comments disappear. So that they come up, and if you don't read it straight away, they're gone.
See, that's where it would be better if you had the voice to text sort of thing. Like, so there's a few seconds delay, but at least you know there's a comment going to be coming sort of thing. Like,
yeah, I might have to look into that perhaps.
And it's probably a little bit less distracting than looking for a comment, whereas you can just carry on playing and it's almost like bouncing off what's being said. Amiga old school, evening all, join late, always late. He's probably raving up in his loft as always. It says your pinball machines look stunning in the background.
Oh, cheers, Adam.
So we're winding towards the end. So the way I always finish the streams is if you've got a message for everyone who's watching or anyone who's listening this back, if you just want to say anything.
I think I said before, just take it easy and know that hopefully we'll be out of this mess soon enough and we get back to events again and all that. I think we just got to be patient and hopefully we're near the end of it now. So just keep going, keep playing and wait until we're out of it. And hopefully we'll all meet up at an event somewhere, hopefully later this year, with a bit of luck. Fingers crossed. I think that's the final thought. We just kind of keep your head down, carry on, and hopefully, sooner or later we'll be going to events again.
Everyone's saying how stunning your backdrop is. I just want to personally thank you for giving up 2 hours for coming on here talking to me.
It's fucking TV with the missus in the house. It's a nice break.
Also, thank you for the deal on the vinyl. I really appreciate it. I've gone to a good home. And I just want to say I've enjoyed talking to you massively about pinballs that I know nothing about, but I find it all very knowledgeable. And if you want to learn more and know a little bit more about pinball, go and check out Dave's channel for sure. It's now Retro Dave's Pinball Arcade, being as he changed it after I made my thumbnail.
I'll put the retro back in.
Brilliant. I just want to say thank you for coming on, and it's been an absolute pleasure. No worries. Cheers, Dave.
Okay.
No. Right. Thank you all for hanging around for 2 hours. I hope you've all enjoyed Dave's journey. You know, it's probably one of the more elaborate journeys out here on YouTube to go from consoles to arcades to pinballs. But it's almost like an evolution of him and his mindset. And, you know, he's been happy with each of those collections in each period of his time. So it's been brilliant for us all to watch that journey, and that he hasn't you know, gone away from the gaming scene. He's just moved on, and it is brilliant. So I want to just say thank you for everyone who's watched all my streams so far, all the support you've given me, everyone who's in the comments, everyone who's in the chat. And I'm going to go and take some more painkillers because my arm is starting to hurt again now. So thank you, YouTube, and goodbye.